And every time somebody goes into a room that the other person is not, the other group is not, then we're adding them. But what happens is that black folks get in these rooms. I mean, black folks are agree to be a part of coalitions,
Mm-hmm.
and we let me just back up for a second. We have to be very mindful that nothing gets moved without it being black, meaning that everybody wants to connect themselves to a black include blacks when they're trying to get it, but
Right.
exclude blacks when they get it. Right? This whole black and I struggle with this when we say black and brown. Which brown? Because not all brown people agree with black issues. So now we have to, when I talk about us being brave and so forth, to really call stuff out, because you have the struggle that we have as black people. Not every brown person is in support of that.
There you go. And that helps in the process of recruiting new people, because you got to put a plan together before you got to put a plan together to get a group together to work the plan that you need to move forward. Would you agree?
But it shouldn't be that way.
Well,
With Florida Rising, we already have our plan. With APC Group, they already have their plan. So the plans won't alter. It's about us connecting the dots to make them move.
So
Because everybody's fighting for housing, everybody's fighting for criminal justice. They're fighting for the same thing, different parts of it, but they're fighting for the same issues.
So how, if I'm a young person, 35, well, I think young, but I look older. So, but how do you convince me that I can be a part of the team? If you take that approach, well, yeah,
Because it'll be an interest that our conversation with you would be, if you had an opportunity to change the world, what would it be? So now I'm focused on what your issue is, because we cover all issues. So what are you interested in?
Well, you know what? That's why I want people to send. You can email In Touch News and all, and even send a letter to us and talk about what your thoughts on this particular topic and all, because I'm very serious as I look around the country, as I look in Tampa and I look in other parts of the country, how the black movement is a little stronger, because they have, you may term it different and all, but they have a stronger bench than we have here.
They have a different mentality than the Tampa group.
So they got young people, they got gay people, they got people that think that are actually conservative, that they want to put the black business concept together more. And so, excuse me, it's one of those things. But we're gonna have to. What we want our listeners to send us some ideas on how we can merge a stronger coalition, because what I'm afraid of, and I gave you a good example before we came on the air. When you look at the four heroes in Tampa that they just honored, the policemen that had the suit,
Fearless Four.
the Fearless Four, and you think of the ones in St. Pete, and I look at the black officers. At one time, after the Fearless Four, they had a group of black officers that was involved with Noble and the Association of Black Law Enforcement, Marion Lewis, Captain Sam Jones, a lot of. But when I look at the struggle now, connecting black officers with our community and the whole bit, they're not organized like those Fearless Four. They don't want to talk about civil rights, even though some of them are still catching hell within the department, promotions, disciplines, whatever the case may be. They're disconnected from our community, and they're not interested. A lot of them say, "Hey, I just want my check. I want to go home. I live in the county." No, but then when something happens to them, then they expect us to rally behind them. And as when we come back off for our next break, we're going to get into that, Anna. So that talks about how we get the black officers to really connect again with the community so they can support them. Because I tell you what, I found out, and this is going to be a hot topic for both of us, that a lot of black officers, surprisingly to me, are not supporting the Devin White's cause because he used the N-word. Now, they won't say it publicly, but if you talk with them and you know a lot of them, like you and I know over the years, they disagree with even a GoFund for him. And
Oh,
so, but I mean, that's a difference of
you got
opinion.
Chauvin, a murderer, and then they
but
supporting that joker. Give me a break.
but you got no. These are black officers now that have an issue
So,
so
so
because
that's
of the
why the
use of
broader
the word.
community is the community, because if that if yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
topic.
see. So
Yeah.
we have a little disagreement. So we're gonna be going to break. I'm still trying to. I'm gonna have to talk to the CEO, Daryl, about can I do a voiceover one. I hate to use my voice with the talent that I have for singing early in the morning, let it go
Oh
to waste.
Lord.
I'm just saying this. We have good fun. That's why we call this show Straight Up the Middle. We keep it real. We make it broad based, and that's what In Touch News is all about. And all the other shows on In Touch Radio, my man Dale with his jazz thing. I used to babysit him. Now he's the top jazz man on In Touch Radio. So you ought to listen to him. Angela Birdsong, Anna with what she's got going on, and everybody with In Touch News and all. I've written op-ed pieces in In Touch News. So when they say straight up the middle, it is a difference between straight up the middle than straight down the middle. Because when you're straight up the middle, you see all sides of the story, Anna. But when you straight down the middle, you only want to look forward and afraid to look on the side, even though it may be a danger to you when you don't look. Just saying, that's that early Saturday morning after Happy Hour Friday. So let's go to break.
Happy
And we'll be,
Hour
well,
Friday.
got to keep it real.
Still
You know
go
what
to
I'm saying?
Happy Hour.
I still do. All right, we'll be right back on In Touch, Straight Up the Middle.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
All righty. Somebody text me and I wanted to know, stop being mean on the radio. Now, I have two intelligent, beautiful sisters as I try to walk this straight down the middle path here on In Touch News. So, brothers, I'm going to tell you right now, even when I have coffee with you later, trust me, I'm on guard to make sure that I don't insult these sisters because they don't have a bus that runs by In Touch News. I have to walk up there to Hillsborough with no bus fare. So these sisters got nice cars, so I'm going to need a ride. All right. We were straight. All right, here we go. Before we left, we were talking about the issue. Why can't we need a strong connection with the black officers in Hillsborough County, like they used to with the Fearless Four. And actually for a period of time after Rufus them even retired, they had Abel, they had Noble, Marion Lewis was a real fighter. They tried to really mess him over.
Yeah.
And then, so now we're at a point that unlike a lot of cities and communities, black officers stick together. They actually have organization. We have none of that now. And then this issue has come up where it is keeping it real, straight up the middle. There's a distinct disconnect between black police officers in the city of Tampa overall and the community. You and I out there all the time. You know, I don't ride down Main Street with my windows up so tight that if I hit a bump, the windows break. That ain't gonna happen. So now it has been exposed more because of the issue with the black officer at the high school using the N word. There are some officers off the record does not support a GoFund for him and all like that, and they're fearful that what he intended to do, that because he's not, let me put it this way politely, he's not polished enough in it, and as far as his remorse, that he may use the same techniques again to get the point across and using the N word. And then there are some that say, hey, you know, if the rule is there, whether you're white or black and all, it should be enforced on a regular basis. So two parts. What do we need to do? Who takes the first step to reconnect the black community with black police officers? And is this thing with Devin White, this critical issue in more ways than none, psychological and the whole bit, is this the vehicle we use to have a come to Jesus meeting with us and the brothers and sisters of the law enforcement community that are black and say, hey, we really need each other. And so where are you at?
In regards to Devin White, just to give a little backdrop, he's a resource officer that worked at Middleton High School. He had an encounter with a student. The student had gotten suspended, and they wanted him to leave the property, because when you get suspended, you have to leave the property or you'll be trespassing. I think the video shows maybe 5 minutes of this officer just going back and forth with the kid. Man, get off the property. You know, you're suspended. Your brother can't be. And the kid was upset. He was in a state. He was upset. Just let my brother be released and then I'll go. And that's not going to happen, right? Because the brother wasn't suspended. So they're going back and forth. And, you know, the kid is just all over the place. So Devin White during that time was just saying, hey, go home, man. You know, get off the property. You're going to be suspended. You hear other people in the video. He's saying, now you're trespassing. I don't want to arrest you. Go home. Just still talking. And so at one point, when the kid uses the N word, I guess the officer just got fed up and he said, he jacked the little kid up and said, you know, N, you going to jail. And that was the extent of it. So the students, he's a resource officer, so he's made an impact on these students' lives. He's, you know, they don't think that the students have a petition going around saying that they don't think that he should be fired. 30 years ago, Mayor Sandy Freeman created a policy that if the N word was used, unless it's, and there's a clause in there about circumstances, but it will result in a person being fired. Did they say racial slur? They said racial slur.
Right.
So my question is, when I first heard about the story, I said, can a black person use a racial slur toward another black person? So that was my first question.
That's still debatable. A lot of people.
But you can't, because the racial slur is derogatory and demeaning.
Okay.
And so the intent is always there. So so that's the first thing, the racial slur. So is it, they didn't create that policy to protect white people. It was the Fearless Four. They're black. Their officers or their superiors were using the N word towards them. So that was the intent. So now I look at this and I say, wow. And I spoke to Rufus about it, and he said, well, Robin, you know, he says, I know you're going to fight. So I'm calling you now. I know you're going to fight. But he said, I think, you know, Sandy Freeman did exactly what we wanted her to do, 30 years ago. Right. So I said, that's fine. So now you've laid the foundation of it. But could you imagine a black person being fired for the same policy that was created to protect you? Right. So it's the way I see it, I think it should be looked at and modified. And why?
In the policy says up to termination, or is it just a straight termination?
It says something about it has a clause in there that, like, there's certain circumstances that
a suspension may be more
It doesn't say
Okay.
suspension, but they put that it's a clause,
Clause in
it's
there.
a
Okay.
space in there that leads you. So my thing is, why is it that we are afraid to? And in my view, this word is used. I don't use it, but people use it.
Mm-hmm.
People take a hold to it. My friends use it. So, but it's a preference and a choice. But why is it that we cannot say, and we will not utter these words? I can use it, but you can't. You, white America, can't, because you're the one that created to be demeaning and derogatory, to demean us. You created the negativity in that word, and I listened to and we took that word back, and the intent of that word is something totally different. So you want to you challenge the GER versus the GA. So when we when it's used in our community, we're not saying GER, but can a white person use it as GA? No, it's off. So why can't we say
Mm-hmm.
there's plenty of things that they've done that we couldn't do? Right. So anyhow, I'll get on that.
Well, I
soapbox.
understand that, and it's a struggle with the Devin White's case, this police officer,
because the kids are doing a petition. They don't want him fired. The kid that got arrested for trespassing, he didn't even remember the word even being used, and he was surprised and hurt that he said that the officer got fired. He said, he has been an influence in my life, right? So if you have all of these things, and the thing that the thing that they is said is, well, if we give him his job back, and that word is said again, they're telling us to shut the H up, right? Which is crazy.
Well, you would assume that if his word is used again with a white officer, that he'll get the same benefit of the doubt.
But that's why things have to be modified.
Because here's the thing, I spoke with some people at different age groups. The younger people understood the context of trying to gain respect. That Devin wanted, the officer White wanted to show this guy, hey, look, bro, I want to work with you, but you know what? If I have to, don't forget that I'm not a police officer that hides behind 3 gated community zone. I'm a member of the hood too.
Correct.
And so white people assume when you say you're from the hood, it's always derogatory. When I say I'm from the hood, I'm sending a message that, listen, not only that my family raised me, but also my neighborhood.
Correct.
So I'm proud to be there. So the question then comes like one of my coffee group brothers told me, say, hey, well, where they want us to back this officer, but where the brothers on the force have been to support us in the community. So then you got that issue. You could call it a jealousy issue. There's some truth to it. The Fearless Four and a lot of those officers behind them, yes, they fought, even though we might have not agreed with some things, but they were connected to the community. So now there's some who are saying, hey, they want us to go fund this brother. They want us to do this for this brother now. But why now has he really, outside of the school system, has he really worked in our community? And I'm like you, Robert, I don't need no bells and whistles, no plaques and nothing like that. There's always work to do. If you're serious about grassroots work, no, you do it in the community and you let the Lord bless you. Whether other people tell you to kiss your butt, thank you, or they don't, whatever.
But see, the fact that we have been I don't want to say brainwashed.
Well, that's one word you can use.
Programmed,
okay.
Thank you, to question stuff like that. This man, and my vision of the Black community back in the day was, if there was somebody in need, the Black community came and supported them, although we were not perfect, right? So we are programmed now to question whether somebody really needs it or not, right? Or what, how much work has he done? Let those kids tell you how much work they've done. And I guarantee the person that's asking that question haven't done anything.
He was remorseful. He was remorseful about things. He even revealed some other things. So obviously, it had a healing effect on him to flush out some of his faults and things he should have done better. And I think it'll make him a better person once
But he
gets
wasn't
through
a bad person
No,
for
but
saying
but I
that.
mean, what I'm saying to you, when you, because here's the thing. One of the things I told you off there before we started is that I'm wondering when he gets his job back. I think he will get his job back. Will it strengthen him to be more broad-minded on how he can be a better police officer for those in the black community who think he really should be fired? Number one. And how can he recruit? There are a lot of people that think he should. I'm just being, I'm like you. We out there on the street,
so
but
sideline people. Again, those individuals think he should be fired. That's a travesty. When you give so many others, white America, they can come on television and cry, and it's forgiven.
Okay.
Black community will forgive others before they forgive
all right. Before
their
we
own.
go to break, let me. I'm gonna put this in the right perspective, the way I think from that. Okay, we should forgive him and all like that. But
it's nothing to forgive.
But I'm saying to some people we should forgive, but for the other people, it's like, okay, we're gonna support him, but what do we do after the fact? Is he gonna support us and bring the brothers?
So I asked you early on, have you ever used that word?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
In the past, yes. I haven't done it in a long, long time. But the words that I hate worse than that in our community when we use it is the B's and the H's. And
exactly.
Stuff like
and nobody's
And let's go to break. And you still have not asked me to sing. What's up with that? All right. Well, we're going to break straight down the middle. Up the middle. See, that's what happens. Straight up the middle. Two intelligent, beautiful sisters. What do you expect? I'm afraid to look left or right, so I got to go straight up the middle. All right, let's go to break. We'll be right back.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right. This voice you hear this morning is Robert Pete Edwards, who serves as the co-host with my boy Clint Paris, attorney Clint Paris. He's out today, and he's left me to go straight
up
the middle. Every time I look at these two sisters, Miss Anna and Miss Robin Lockett, it's like, bro, you ain't got no choice. You better go straight up the middle. But we're here with the segment of Straight Up the Middle on In Touch News and Radio. Want to remind, we know we got people all over the world that listens to us. And In Touch, they got so many programming, jazz and business and legal stuff and the whole bit. And so you need to also go on In Touch and look at their online newspaper.
Yes.
One of the columns that I really like is when the people write in the Tampa Bay Tammy, and she gives those for real answers to solution. Girl advice. Listen, I wanted to write myself, but I was afraid somebody might recognize my pain, so I didn't do that. So we're back talking about this. In the Devin White situation, I really believe that he's going to get his job back. The only issue that I really is struggling with is once he gets the job back with the support of the community that immediately surrounded him, not only the kids, but a lot of the teachers and the whole bit. what do you do when the community rallies behind you? How do you repay the favor? And some people assume that, okay, well, he got his job back. He doesn't need to repay us and all. But other people look for service.
He
You
continues
feel me?
to.
Well,
He
now
continues to do.
beyond the service of being a school resource
No, he
officer.
does. He serves those kids. You talk
All
about
right,
the.
get into that. Get into that.
I mean, I can't remember everything, but the kids talk about them not having something, and Devin White going and purchasing for him, helping them with football. They call him when they need him.
There you go.
So so not everything is for us, the judgmental adults, to judge. What I want to know is how many white officers has said that word and not been reprimanded. That's what they're looking into, because how. With all the complaints from about white officers, how many of those people didn't have a body cam because they just got body cams, have received complaints about being called that word and nothing was done?
Well, good luck finding that information. I don't think you're gonna find it. So in the Devin, we can use the Devin White situation. Can it be a teaching moment going forward to bring black officers and the community more together on a common cause, where the black officer recognize, you know what, you got a badge, the kids love you and all like that, but there's some people gonna say, hey, you're still black, beyond the black community. And then you're gonna have some people within the black community that will say, no, he needs to be gone. Then you're gonna have some say, which they are saying, because they're disrespecting the kids when they say this. Mind you, now they're disrespecting the kids, and they'll say, "Well, where in the hell has he been? He's been where he's supposed to be, getting kids straightened out so they can be part of our future backbench to take the leadership."
And it's not
roles.
even straightening out.
You know what I mean.
He's been there making those kids feel secure, making those kids build a rapport with another, with the law enforcement. Right, not all of them, but I guarantee you, most of them respect and respect authority.
Yeah.
But that's why with him building a relationship with those kids.
And I gave my grandson we were talking about this thing and all, and I told him, I remember, I was a young upstart when I got hired by the parole commission, Jabbo, Rufus Lewis, all those guys coming through the ranks.
Rufus is crazy.
Yeah. Sam Jones, daddy, the senior, Romeo Cole Senior, Romeo Cole Jr. And I told my grandson, I said, look, it's a pecking order as you get strong as a black male in the community. You have to take your lumps. You have to learn from people. You have to understand why they give you a hard time, because they may see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And so they, within the spirit of being a hood brother, they help mold and shape you to take a leadership role, take their spot to make it better for your community. And so I look at those guys, and I actually see with Devin's situation, I actually see in my situation when I was a young parole officer, I never forget, they used to call me and say, hey, look, we're going to keep you in line. You're making a couple of mistakes, but we think you got potential. And I think a couple of them that were, I remember Lieutenant Sammy Fillmore, he said, hey, man, we're gonna pray for you.
So somewhere along the line, that group of people stopped.
Right. And we need to bring that back.
Well, now you have people with a different attitude that see. Listen, so in the black community, they call them the old guards, the old guards, the guards that's holding.
Right.
So to me, I look at things, and I think that there's stipulations with everything. When I was the president of the Black Caucus, Jordan Pride, who's the president now, she's in her 20s. There were so many people calling me when my term ended, because when you're elected twice, my term ended. Right? I termed out. Is what they call it. So, Robin, get a male, because there has to be a male and a female, right? So get a male to run. You'll still be involved, and then you run the next. I said no. Why would I do that? So
Yeah, you still had work to do. You just didn't, you don't have to be in that capacity
correct, but I'm
to
not
make
going
a
to try
difference.
to stay in the
Hmm.
spotlight so Jordan was she started out as the internet person for me. She was young. And what I did was I had young people on my executive thing. Jasmine Mateer was my secretary, Jordan, but they had a voice in what we do, right?
And you did a good job with that. I had one fault with that.
Let me
They were
finish.
all Democrats. Hey,
So with that, when it was time for me to leave, I asked Jordan, did she want, would she be interested in being the president? Because she's young. We had consistent older members. So
Mhm.
I wasn't intimidated by her doing something different because I already laid the groundwork.
Hmm.
So she said yes. And hey, I made my phone calls, right? And she's president.
Yeah, she does a good job. We've
Yes.
had some interesting conversations and all, but
But
that
my point is that there wasn't a stipulation when I left that position. She's now there. So with younger people and the Black community, I hear this all the time. Well, you guys want to if we want to do something, y'all will just micromanage us and tell us what to do. And it's how like you said, don't talk at them,
talk
talk
with
to
them.
them,
Yeah, talk with them.
right? Have that conversation. How can your ideas merge with my ideas, right?
Hmm.
So that's a missing piece. We're not having conversation. And because why? We people in the community fear not having the illusion, because nobody has power. Nobody has power. The illusion of losing power. The power that people think they have in the Black community is that they have Jane Castor's phone number, or they can pick up the phone and call somebody. But when, and that okay, so that's a tip of the power. But what do you use that power
And
for?
that's why I think this Devin White situation, I'm prayerful that it will be a catalyst to strengthen us, but particularly with young people, so they truly understand that yes, there's some imperfections, but we need everybody, and they will step up to the plate to have a 360-degree view of what's going on to avoid a lot of traps. Because some traps you're going to fall into, you just don't see coming. And I'm hoping that this situation will, I just got a feeling it's going to inspire him to take a higher
And
role
may.
to be like the fearless four and all. And I think kids are going to be looking for it. Because one thing I found out working with juvenile justice, we used to have some real tough guys come through the Jack Center staff, the center, and they would come in talking all that yang yang and all that kind of stuff. And then when I would talk the yang yang back with them, they say, "Well, you don't look like you're supposed to be talking that. Well, how am I supposed to look? Yeah, you know what I mean." But once they got there, now some of them are granddads, young granddads. They can remember me, but I cannot remember them. So we're gonna be heading out in a little bit. And how did I wind up with you today? I'm glad Clint was
Because
off.
Clinton allows. I am the seat warmer. So
But
normally when a host are
another
out, they'll
liberal.
call me.
But when he told you that on In Touch News, straight up the middle show on a Saturday morning, that you was gonna have a conservative Black Republican from the hood like Pete Edwards, did you say, "Are you crazy?"
No, I said I can handle Pete.
See, so boy,
I can
you know
handle
what?
Pete.
The only person we don't have here that could really have me in a real straight jacket if we had Tampa Bay Tammy, because I won't have no choice. But I love it because I think I tell young guys all the time, don't overestimate a sister's influence to making you a better man. Don't underestimate that. In fact, go out and challenge yourself, as you can learn something from her, but you can also give a better perspective to her, your potential and what you're all about as you dig deeper into a wholesome, well-rounded conversation, not talking down to talking across, but talking with. So we're gonna head out of here. We want to hear your feedback and all, because if I don't hear any feedback from you, Clint may not let me and Robin come on the show again. Well, he'll let Robin come on, but you know, these liberals, they don't like Republicans. No matter that we can be liberal too in some aspect. So, Robin, I appreciate it. I just can't get over those new puffs you wearing.
They're
this morning.
puffs.
Is that what you're calling Anna puff? So Anna has this Nubian twist on her hair. Robin got the Nubian puffs, and I still got gray hair that probably needs some just for men on it or something. So we'll see.
Pete, I would like to thank Clinton for inviting me to co-host with you today. And you know, in regards to the community, you know, it's a real struggle, but we can overcome it. That's what we do.
There's still work to do, as King Solomon said. There's much work to do. So we'll see you next week, and I may just tell Clint, leave me here with these two Nubian sisters for another week, so they can make me a liberal Democrat. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.